Keenan Anderson died after being tased multiple times by the LAPD. Keenan was having a mental health emergency after a car accident. Instead of helping him, the police killed him. Hey everybody, welcome to the True Crime Squad. I'm Kristi Brower, here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey Katie.
Hello.
Happy Monday.
Yeah, already.
Already.
Brand new week.
Yeah, happy Martin Luther King Day.
Yes, absolutely.
You'll see why I'm doing the case I'm doing.
Yeah.
Not that this isn't always an important case, it is, but I wanted to pick a case that really shows where we're at, unfortunately, with racism and law enforcement right now. And
yeah,
it's not good. Not good at all.
Nope. Just when you think, not that we've ever thought, but, just when something settles down, another case happens that you just can't even fathom.
Right.
Could have happened again. Yeah.
Keep on coming. Just keep on coming. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
I know, Katie, you are planning to kick us off with some WTF news.
Oh, yeah, I am. Wanted to show you this sweet little guy.
Oh.
Yep, this is a Bengal tiger cub. He's about 3 months old, weighs about 20 pounds.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And he was just confiscated in New Mexico.
Oh, boy.
So let me tell you what happened. There was reports of a shooting in Albuquerque. And officers responded to the crime. And they found a trail of blood at the crime scene that led them to a single wide trailer that had a dog crate in it that had a tiger cub in it.
Oh, dear. What the hell?
And this was reminiscent to the police because, unfortunately, this isn't the first time they have been looking for unauthorized tiger cubs in the area. And I'll tell you about it. But this little guy is in good health. He's been taken to a place called the Biopark.
Mm.
And Game and Fish spokesmen are saying that he's acting fine. So they think it's probably okay. But after they discovered him, they did, more searching of the area and managed to find a bunch more drugs and whatnot. But I wanted to tell you about what happened last summer, because last summer they were also in the area looking for a tiger cub.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same tiger cub.
There's more than one person in this area with a tiger cub?
Breeding. They must be breeding. This is a 3-month-old cub. In August, they were looking for a cub that would be about 8 months old now and over 100 pounds. So obviously not this little dude.
Mm-hmm.
But in that search, this is just killing me. What is with these criminals and the tiger cubs? But in that search, the police came across, they had arrested a man named Carlos Giddings, and they thought he was illegally possessing a tiger. They couldn't find a tiger. They'd been told there was a tiger in the home. They couldn't find one, but they did find a ton of marijuana, multiple firearms, lots of cash. Then they came back with another warrant because this was just a fish and game warrant. So the police got a warrant, came back to the house, and they found 10 pounds of cocaine, 2 pounds of heroin, 40 pounds of weed, 16 fentanyl pills, all of which were hidden up in the attic. So not even stuff that the fish and game saw.
Oh my God.
But don't worry, guys. He was storing the drugs for someone else.
People do that all the time.
Sure. They also found an AR, $40,000 in cash, and a 3-foot-long alligator.
What in the hell is going on with this guy? Like, he's dealing drugs.
Yeah.
What is he doing? Like raising animals to defend him?
storing drugs for someone else. He didn't even
Oh,
know. He probably thought those were totes of Christmas ornaments. You don't know.
right. I'm sure. And that alligator, I mean, what was
Yeah.
his explanation for that?
I don't know. It too was seized by the Fish and Game. So now they found this tiger cub, and they are so perplexed because not the same guy, not the same situation. Weren't looking for a tiger cub. We're there for a shooting, which also kind of cracks me up that whatever bullshit these people had going down, it exposed the fact that they had a tiger cub.
Yeah.
But I think that the Albuquerque officials need to be more concerned with the fact that someone is obviously breeding tigers in Albuquerque, or in the area. And
Oh, that's
who is that?
terrifying.
Mhm. What's
Oh my
happening?
God.
Big cats are not house cats. It's a horrific life for them. And
Oh,
you, if they decide they've had enough of your shit. This
right.
is
I
a
mean,
horrible plan.
incredibly dangerous
Mhm.
and just mean as hell. Why would you do
Mhm.
that?
Mhm.
My God.
But you have to know, some of you may have heard of the Ligertown incident.
Oh, good God. Idaho is always on the map for some dumb bullshit, and this is one
Mhm.
of them.
In a town not too far from us, a little town called Lava Hot Springs. There was an incident. It's probably been 25 years ago or
Yeah, it's been
more.
a long time. Quite
But
a
some people were breeding tigers kind of on the outskirts of town. Apparently, a lot of people knew that they had them, but we're just kind of not saying anything. They were also trying to breed lions and tigers and breed a bunch of ligers, right? Napoleon Dynamite's favorite animal, liger.
Yeah, those.
And these people could not afford to feed all of the big cats that they kept breeding and getting more and more. And I mean, it takes an enormous amount of food for them
Oh, yeah.
and of like fresh meat for them. And they couldn't really afford to feed them and they were pretty starved. And then somebody breached the compound and they all got out.
Yeah.
This poor little town was in terror with all of these big cats prowling their backyards. And Fish and Game ended up having to come in and hunt down and euthanize every single one of them.
It was so sad. It
Horrific.
was awful.
Yeah, horrific.
Well, and
Whatever.
lagers are very dangerous. Lagers are like
Mhm.
take like the most terrifying traits of both lions and tigers and then times them by 10 when you combine them
Yeah.
genetically. Like they're very dangerous and huge, muscly
Mhm.
cats. Like it's the stupidest. Oh,
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, and to be fair, Idaho doesn't really have exotic animals laws.
No.
There is a federal law now that you can't have large exotics like that just in your homes.
Right.
Also, there's a federal law that you cannot breed large cats for any purpose.
Right.
So, at any
I
rate,
think we should have to be telling people this.
yeah. So now we have this little cub on our hands and would really like to know where the rest of the tigers are. So hopefully, from this whole incident, they can chase that down and get this shut down before something terrible happens.
My God, I hope so. That's just terrifying and
Hmm.
awful in like many ways.
Hmm. Yeah.
That poor little cub. God.
You just know at some point you're going to see some jackass on TikTok sharing videos of their 2-year-old playing with a tiger cub,
Right?
telling
Right?
you it's
Because
perfectly safe because they love each other. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
what's with the alligators, man? This isn't even Florida. I
Right?
mean, we know in Florida, crazy people love alligators, love
Right.
them. How
But in
often
New
have we
Mexico? What the hell?
what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah. Yikes.
Anyway, so there you have it. Hopefully it's not a new Liger town in the making in
Oh,
Albuquerque.
gosh. I really hope not.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to kick the mic back to you for our main case.
Yes. So our main case today is the case of Keenan Anderson. This is Keenan. Keenan was, unfortunately, not is, 31 years old. He was a teacher with a 6-year-old son.
Hmm.
And recently, he had an altercation with the LAPD that resulted in his death.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little about it. This happened in Venice, California, Los Angeles area.
Hmm.
There's This happened on January 3rd. The body cam has now come out about what happened. But there was a car accident. And so Keenan himself actually flagged down an LAPD motorcycle officer
Mhm.
for help because there'd been a car accident.
Yeah.
So there were other people in the area that had witnessed it who told the police that the accident was Anderson's fault.
Mhm.
So the officer is talking to him, and he's apologizing and saying, "Please, sir, I didn't mean to. Like it was an accident." But he was immediately terrified, which,
Mhm.
as a black man, I
Yeah.
don't blame him for 1 second.
Yep.
At that point, Anderson's behavior started to be a bit off.
Mhm.
Told the LAPD that somebody was trying to kill him.
Mhm.
And when the officer asked what he meant, he kind of tells some story about how he performed a stunt earlier and that someone was going to add stuff to his car. Like, he was behaving as though he
Mhm.
was not well.
Yeah.
Mental health emergency. He had just been in a car accident,
Mhm.
under the influence of something. He was not well. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Should have been a big red flag immediately to this officer. But as we
Yeah.
know, they really don't give a shit.
No.
So he starts begging the police officer for water, that he needs a drink. And the officer keeps blowing him off that he'll get him some later.
Ugh.
Um, and so then, he's just begging for help, basically.
Right.
At this point, Anderson is like, there's something wrong with him. It's very clear.
Right.
He gets really freaked out. So he jogs to the other side of the intersection from where this incident happened. So the police follow him, chase him, basically. This was originally made out to be that he fled the scene of an accident. He walked across the street, you guys.
Right.
He was feeling really upset. He was clearly not really
Mhm.
with it mentally. So the officers went after him. They decided that what they needed to do was pin him to the ground and tase him a bunch of times because he asked for help because he'd been in a car accident,
Mhm.
apparently.
Yep.
They pinned him down. They tased him repeatedly. At one point, they tased him for more than 10 seconds, continuously.
Yeah.
And, the more you tase somebody, the more you're at risk of killing them. And if they
Right.
are in a mental health crisis or a physical crisis, people are
Mhm.
more at risk of being killed from
Right. Tasing isn't called for every suspect. It's not.
No, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to talk about what LAPD's use of force policy is, which none
Mhm.
of these officers clearly give a shit. At one point, he's screaming, "They're trying to George Floyd me."
Mhm.
The guy is terrified.
Yeah.
No question. Um, Eventually, they handcuffed him and they took him into custody. He went to a hospital in Santa Monica where he was later pronounced dead of
Yeah.
cardiac arrest. You know what tasing can cause?
Yeah.
Cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
This story is horrifying to me on so many levels. First of all, this guy asked for help from the police. He's
Mhm.
exhibiting having some kind of crisis. He's been in
Mhm.
a car accident.
Right. I mean, he could have been confused. He could have hit
Right.
his head on the steering wheel. Like,
Right. We
we
don't
don't
even
know.
know if
He
he
was
was in.
having some kind of a medical incident.
He was. And they did not care, treated him as though. So let me tell you LAPD's use of force policy, a few things about it, because I think this is important to know. Their first and foremost, they are to use de-escalation techniques,
Mhm.
which, I would imagine getting him a drink of water, having him sit down, say, "Sir, you've been
Mhm.
in an accident. Let's get you settled and get an ambulance here to make sure you're okay," would
Yeah.
have been a great de-escalation technique.
Yeah.
But instead, they keep blowing him off that they're not doing that.
Right. It's not like we're talking about a dangerous criminal
No, we're
in
not.
any way.
He didn't have a weapon. He wasn't threatening anyone, and he was behaving as though he was in crisis of some sort.
Mhm.
Where feasible, a peace officer, my God, they've got to stop fucking calling him that.
Mhm.
Prior to the use of any force, make reasonable efforts to identify themselves as a peace officer and to warn that force may be used. Now, why would there be force used?
Right.
Proportionality. This is important. Officers may only use a level of force that they reasonably believe is proportional to the seriousness of the suspected offense or
Mhm.
reasonably perceived level of actual or threatened resistance.
Yeah.
He was in a car accident and he walked across the street, and
Right.
them their proportional response was to pin him down, tase him multiple times, and arrest him.
Yeah.
For
For
what
what?
was he arrested for?
He had every right to go across the street.
He wasn't arrested
Right. He
at that
wasn't
point.
arrested. He
He
wasn't being
wasn't
charged
running
with
from the
anything.
police.
Right.
This was a
If
car
anything, he
accident.
may have been ticketed for that car accident.
Right.
But that's not
No,
this doesn't match. Yeah.
no, not at all. Not at all. But like they care. They don't care. They don't give a shit. This is very obvious. Over and over again, we see this. And they don't follow their own policies.
Mhm.
They don't respect human beings. They don't acknowledge that he's having some kind of a medical crisis.
Right.
They don't get him the help that he needs. Then they pin him on the ground and taser him a whole bunch of times and send him off to the hospital where he dies of
Mhm.
cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
So this incident is being investigated. Boy, we've heard that many times.
Yeah.
And the chief of police, he comes out with this big, long, blah, blah, blah. We really care about these situations, blah, 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 bullshit.
Prove it.
He does say that he's very concerned about this incident because to him, when he watches the video, it's very clear to him that this person was having a mental health emergency
Mhm.
and that mental health support should have been called in. Why wasn't medical help called in?
Right.
There was a car accident.
Right.
And this guy's acting weird? Yeah.
In Idaho, when there is a car accident, the ambulance and police are called simultaneously. That's just the
Right.
way it's done. And
Right.
one or the ambulance might get waved off if we end up not needing them. And of course, I know we're talking about a much larger place that probably, uh, you know, that's easier probably to provide here. But why wasn't an ambulance called?
But
And
this
also,
man,
they have mental health support staff, and they didn't even bother to use
they
them.
do, and they didn't use them. And what right did they have multiple officers to pin him to the ground and tase him over and over again and arrest him? For what? What
Right.
was he arrested for? He didn't do anything illegal.
Right.
They hadn't even determined what the accident was. He was just a black man, so of course, immediately that means he's a criminal. This is
Mhm.
the biggest bunch of horseshit I've ever seen, and I have said that so many times in these cases, but it is absolutely ridiculous. And the big apology from the police chief, and we're looking
Mhm.
into it, means nothing. Means
Mhm.
nothing. Your own policy says that they should never have done this because
Yeah.
this was not proportional. There
No.
was no risk of harm to anyone,
Well, and
and he wasn't
we
even
didn't have one
he
single
didn't
voice of
commit a
reason there.
crime.
Right.
Right.
Not one single voice of reason. Not one single cop that was willing to say, "Hey, we're not tasing him. What are you doing?"
Let him he didn't do anything.
Yeah. This isn't okay. No.
And if the accident, it was deemed that he needed to be ticketed or he was determined to have, had it was a DUI or whatever, fine. But none of those things were even determined.
Mhm.
None of that was even worked out. They just zeroed right in on him as the criminal
Mhm.
and they killed him. This was
Yeah.
murder.
What? Yeah.
This was murder.
Mhm.
Now, something to know about Keenan is he is the cousin of one of the founders of Black Lives Matter.
Mhm.
And the family and, there's going to be some shit go down with this
Oh
because
yeah.
he's got lots of family support behind. This one isn't just going to disappear,
No.
as none of them should,
No, but they frequently do, if they even get any press at all.
right?
For the ones that we hear about, how many are
They're
there that we don't hear about?
right.
Lots.
Well, apparently there are 3 cases being investigated by the chief of police or whoever because of similar incidents like this in the last year. Color
Oh,
me not
well,
surprised at all.
so at what point do we stop investigating these, start charging some people, and end this?
Yeah.
We're
Get
just going
rid
to
of
keep
these
investigating
murderous
them?
police
Yeah.
officers. Just makes me so sick and so sad for his family, for his
Mhm.
son, for his students.
Yeah.
He's from DC
Yeah.
and he was in California visiting family over the Christmas break. And so his students that have had him for the first half of the school year now have a murdered teacher, his child, a murdered father, His family are absolutely heartbroken and terrified. What are they supposed to do in that situation? He cannot ask the police for help, or they will just kill him. What is someone supposed to do in that situation? What should he have done?
Right.
There is no right answer here.
None.
And I would have gotten away from the cops too if I were him, because he's
Right.
realizing I've asked for help from the police and they're looking at me like I'm a criminal. And who knows what kind of medical emergency he was having.
Right.
I don't even know if we will know, because they killed him before we could even find out. Was he injured from the crash? He did have marijuana and cocaine in his system. We don't know if he was actually under the influence at that time, because, of course, there was no actual investigation here. They just killed him instead, because getting in a car wreck deserves death on the street by the police?
Apparently.
Oh, my God, these cases, you guys. It makes me so sick and so angry. I am so fucking tired of these stories. I am so tired of hearing this and seeing this.
Yeah.
How do we stop this? This is why people march and riot and say defund the police. This is why. If this had been a white man, first of all, this would have never happened to a white man.
No.
But if it had, can you imagine the outcry in this country if Keenan had been white? That would not be put up with for one fucking second, but he's black. So it's okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm so done with all of this shit. I just, and we all say we got to vote. We got to pay attention to our own police and police policy and all of those things. Yeah. But is it getting any better? Because it sure feels like to me it's getting worse. We occasionally
I don't know that
have
it's getting better, but the awareness at least is, and awareness
Right.
does create change.
It does.
But I think we're in the infancy of creating change.
Right. Every once in a while, like Derek Chauvin, who murdered George Floyd with the help of a bunch of his officers, was found guilty by state of murder and also of a hate crime. But did that solve anything? No. I mean, LA police still think it's okay to murder somebody for getting into a car accident and asking police for help. So I wanted to do this case. Well, I always want to do these cases, but I particularly wanted this case to come out on Martin Luther King Day, because this is where we are.
Yep.
If you think it's gotten better, it hasn't.
Yeah.
And we all have to be aware. If you live in LA, if that's your chief of police, if that's your police force, please make your voice heard. Yeah. I don't even know what else to say. I'm just so fucking pissed. It's horrific.
Yeah, it is.
And at no point should anyone fear being murdered by the police for asking for help.
No. This is happening way too often, that the police are becoming the judge, jury, and executioner.
Right. Somehow now they just get to deal out the death penalty?
Yeah. For a car wreck?
Yeah, for a car wreck.
Cool. Yeah.
Fucking awful.
Yeah.
Well, Katie, I think you have some more WTF news for us.
A little different, but yes. Oh my goodness. This Alex Murdaugh wannabe is Lori Deveny.
I can't imagine anyone wanting to be Alex Murdaugh.
It's true. It's true. This is just Alex with more hair. But so Lori is a former personal injury lawyer. And Lori has been defrauding her clients. So people come to her, who've been in some kind of an accident and are owed some compensation, help with their medical bills, or, their medical bills paid, and so on and so forth, right? It's this kind of lawyer. And she was actually very good at her job. She won a lot of cases. Unfortunately for her clients, she wasn't doling out the money to them that should have been given to them.
Oh my God.
So In May of 2019, she was indicted on 24 counts of fraud, failure to file federal income tax returns, and some other financial and tax crimes. Basically, what it boiled down to is that she was getting settlements for her clients and then not giving them to them and telling them lies
Just
and
like Alex Murdaugh, my God.
and making excuses about why their money hadn't arrived yet. One of the more popular ones was that it was being seized by Medicaid, things like that, depending on the person's situation, or just that
No
it wasn't
notification to the individual person. Yeah, right.
right. So we're talking about people that are in the lowest of the low situation. Perhaps you've been in a wreck, you can't work, you've had to have a whole bunch of medical care, your life has been turned completely upside down. You get a settlement, you win a settlement,
No.
and then you never see it. But you guys, Lori really needed it. She really needed it.
Oh, I'll bet.
She's been really busy. Some of the expenditures were more than $220,000 on cigars and related expenses.
What?
150K. Yeah, I don't know what related expenses to
Like
$220,000 in cigars
a
is.
humidifier and one of those cutters for the end? I mean, like,
Probably a few hundred of those, but yeah. Over 150K on airfare, 173,000 on African safaris and big game hunting expeditions.
oh my God. So she's
Mhm.
trash in every way. Wow.
Mhm. 35,000 on taxidermy for her trophy kills.
Ah,
125,000 on home renovations. 195,000 on mortgage payments. $58,000 on pet boarding. $58,000 on pet boarding.
what? What? What kind of first class pet spa is this? Holy hell.
And the most important one, probably $60,000 on repeat stays at a luxury nudist resort in Palm Springs, California.
Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
You're defrauding your clients so that you can go to a nudist retreat?
Hmm. Yeah.
I
So,
mean, go to the nudist retreat all you want, but just spend your own money,
yeah.
please. Oh my hell.
So sorry, Carolyn, who, you and the kids won't get to eat this week, but it's okay because I'm going to go shoot a giraffe and then go spend a week in a nudist retreat. Neat.
Oh,
Okay,
shit.
Lori, you are a piece of shit. But
Greed makes
but
so
wait,
gross.
there's more. Her defense attorney had a reason for all of this. There's
Oh,
a reason.
really?
Yeah,
There's a
and it's not
reason.
just the lavish lifestyle.
Really?
There's a reason why Lori would
I
do
can't
such a
wait for
thing
this.
to very vulnerable people.
Hmm.
Well, she had been in a toxic and sexually violent marriage to an older man.
Are you motherfucking kidding me?
And in a defense sentencing memo, her attorney pointed to the infliction of sexual pain and injury by her late husband that resulted in vaginal and anal abscesses and fistulas, and a series of surgical interventions and hospitalizations. And that, Your Honor, is why she did it.
I rest my case.
Case closed. Send her home.
I mean, those are terrible things, and I'm sorry that happened to her, but what are you. What?
Sorry about those anal abscesses there, Lori, but that doesn't mean you get to do this to other people. What the hell?
There
Can you
is
imagine using that as your
doing
defense?
this to other people. You are literally have nothing for defense,
Mm-hmm.
clearly.
Yep.
So
Yep.
she was so traumatized that she had to steal millions of dollars from her clients.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
the prosecutor said she has no arguable mitigating reason for her conduct. To the contrary, her own avarice was at the heart of her crimes. She stole in order to live an extravagant lifestyle that many people only dream about, while leaving her victims desperate and destitute and barely able to make ends meet. Yep, that's it.
That's exactly it right there.
This lady, Nancy Fryer, said that she had told her she was a model client, but then she failed me. They went to court because a doctor cut off one of her toes without her consent.
What? Holy shit.
They won a large settlement, and she never saw a dime of it.
Oh my God.
hmm There were 18 pages of victim impact statements.
Oh. I hope she's got property and stuff that can be sold off to give them at least some of their money.
I
God,
hope so. In one
that's
document,
terrible.
yeah, an unidentified victim was involved in a car crash. She settled their claim for $11,000, which she just kept and just kept putting them off. Well, wait, we haven't heard from them yet. I'll send another email. Yeah.
And they'd settled, so the
hmm
the
So she
client
had
knew that they'd
no,
settled.
the client didn't know. She had defrauded the client and the insurance company. It sounds like quite a lot of that happened. So she has 4.6 million in restitution and 101 months in a federal prison.
Wow, that's not enough months, not even
No,
close.
nope.
But I hope they sell everything she owns down to
hmm
her toothpaste
hmm
to try
Yeah,
to give these people at least some of their money back. That is so awful.
right.
God,
Every
why are people
last
so
piece
terrible?
of disgusting taxidermy and everything else. Like, why? Isn't that crazy?
That is just,
The whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So there you have it. Now you won't have to watch the Lifetime movie. I don't know if there'll be one, but
It
probably as soon as
sounds like one of
right up
those,
their aisle. Yeah.
that the romance novelist that killed her husband's got a Lifetime movie. So
hmm
Sybil Shepherd is playing her.
Yeah. So this could be
Oh,
right alongside of it. Yeah. So boo to the top of the FOS list, Lori. You
yes.
suck.
Yes, you do. And
Yeah.
you deserve way more than 101 months in prison for this.
hmm
Oh, guys, sometimes I have to work hard to remind myself that there are good people in this world because there
hmm
are so many bad ones that humanity just baffles me.
hmm
Baffles me. Well, this is our Monday episode. There you go. You're welcome. We will be watching the Keenan Anderson situation closely to
Yes.
see what does happen. Best case scenario at this point, we see charges on these officers, but
hmm
I'm not going to hold my breath because he died at the hospital, not on the scene.
Yep.
And I have no doubt that they're going to try to use toxicology, prior medical issues, maybe injuries from the accident, whatever, to try to get the cops off.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
But we will keep an eye on that and let you know.
Absolutely.
We will be
Yep.
back Tuesday and Wednesday with more episodes, and we will be back Wednesday night for our live stream case updates. That's at 7 p.m. Mountain,
hmm
and it is live streamed to our YouTube channel and our Facebook group, so you don't want to miss that because we update everything.
hmm
If you ever think that you've seen an episode that the information seems a little out of date, you might want to check the date that it was uploaded.
Yep.
And then watch our case update show because that's where we do a live update of everything every week because we know these things move quickly and we can't always do an episode for every single update for every single case. But
Yep.
what we can do is the live stream. So keep an eye on that.
Yep.
And as always, like, subscribe, share, comment, check out our Patreon. We're True Crime Squad at patreon.com. On our website, truecrimesquad.com, there's a way to tip us if you'd like. If you like our work, you can tip us there, or here on YouTube. It always is helpful to us, helps us to grow and to keep doing what we're doing, guys, because we put a lot of time and energy into this, and we love it. But, helping us out a little bit is much appreciated.
Absolutely.
And you know what? We are the True Crime Squad. Thanks for being here.
Take care.